Hey everyone, this is Bubba, I love you here, and I have a very special interview today, and I am super excited to do this. It's Destiny, who plays StarCraft 2, and he's a really well-known player over there. He's a really hilarious guy, and he's really a down-to-earth kind of fun guy to talk to. Why don't you go and introduce yourself in terms of your StarCraft 2 background, and as well as a person?
Hey, I'm Destiny. I'm known for streaming in the StarCraft 2 community, and I also play at a semi-professional level.
Okay, and for people who are watching StarCraft 2 or from StarCraft 2 community, I'm kind of a guy that just does interviews with professional players, strictly with mostly League of Legends, where try to help the community get better by learning from the pros. And can you go ahead and just start off talking about your history of StarCraft 2 and gaming in general before that?
I've always played games my entire life. I played StarCraft Brood War for 10 years, never professionally, not even close, but just for fun. And then when StarCraft 2 came out, I hopped in the beta really early, and I've just played it a lot. So I kind of got popular for starting to stream in the beta, and I've just been playing and trying to improve ever since.
Okay, and this interview is going to be strictly focused around the competitive community between StarCraft 2 and League of Legends, and esports in general, what kind of can be done to help out. And can you actually explain? Actually, sorry, let's go back a little bit because you actually do play League of Legends, and you've been playing with a well-known person for the League of Legends community called Phantom Lord. Can you talk about like what you guys have been up to and what you think of the game so far?
Um, I mean, it's fun. I just kind of play for fun right now. It's a really interesting game at higher levels. And Phantom Lord is he's like a really funny, cool guy, and we kind of click a little bit. So we play some ranked games and kind of a little trollishly sometimes. So I don't really have like a professional relationship with any like League of Legends pros. We don't like scrim or anything like that.
Okay, but you just been kind of getting your foot in there and kind of just experiencing it, and you're enjoying it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and can you this is going to be kind of difficult, like I'm assuming, but can you kind of explain the StarCraft 2 community? I know recently there's been some stuff, but I mean in general, obviously.
I mean, it's kind of complicated. The StarCraft 2 community is, I mean, the way the community is now is almost a direct result of everything coming over from Brood War. And the Brood War community was like enormous, arguably one of the most like vibrant, successful kind of esports communities of all time, depending on how you look at things. So, I mean, a lot of what you see in StarCraft 2, like the shoutcasting tournaments and the huge like competitive scene and everything, all kind of comes over from that.
Yeah, that's one thing I really wanted to point out is that League of Legends is more of a new game, and with Brood War having years of that, StarCraft 2 kind of has that advantage. And can you actually talk about how Blizzard supports StarCraft 2? Like in terms of competitions and stuff like that?
Blizzard doesn't support StarCraft 2 competitively at all right now. Um, they're going to try to a lot more this year. They announced it in their last conference call that they were going to try to support esports more this year, but over the past year, there's been pretty much nil support from Blizzard. It's pretty abysmal. It's actually really embarrassing. Every time a live event rolls around, even like at MLG and stuff, like they still have to call people to get like the IP reconfirmed from MLG so that all of the computers don't get blacklisted from trying to log into battle.net. And I mean, like it's been the way that Blizzard like collects profits from tournaments that are trying to run StarCraft 2 tournaments is pretty bad. So I mean, as of up to this point, I would say Blizzard's done a really bad job of managing the esports side of things. But they said this year they're going to try to get better, so I guess we just have to wait and see. I'm not entirely familiar with the relationship between GOM TV and Blizzard, but I guess Blizzard contributes money for like prize pool and stuff over there. But I mean, aside from that, Blizzard doesn't do much, I don't think, for esports.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like Riot is the complete opposite for League of Legends. Riot is constantly like helping out tournaments that people run, like community run tournaments. Offering RP cards, offering skins, and even like offering publicity to these tournaments. And I just kind of wanted to explain, how they help that. And um, what do you think Riot can actually do? Because it's kind of weird since Blizzard doesn't really support the competitive community. It's still extremely big and well known. I mean, they did have Brood War, but they still have all these tournaments and all these leagues like GSL, NASL, MLG, IEM, DreamHack. It's kind of outstanding just how much they have.
Well, all of those leagues, it's really important to note, all of those leagues developed independently of Blizzard. There's absolutely no affiliation with Blizzard in any of those leagues, except for, I guess, GSL because they provide money for the prize pool for going or whatever. But like NASL, IPL, the Home Story Cup, every other tournament that runs independent of GOM TV, those are all independent leagues without any affiliation or support from Blizzard.
Okay, and how did those actually become really popular? Like, it's really, really hard in League of Legends to actually get like a league going because most pro teams, won't really participate in it.
StarCraft 2 is, like I said, the community. Everything that is StarCraft 2 today is a result of what came over from Brood War. And the Brood War community was huge in like getting up new tournaments and seeing foreign players. When I say foreign, I mean players outside of Korea do really well in tournaments and like everything from Brood War carried over into StarCraft 2. I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
And oh, okay, I actually was not aware that like GSL and ASL actually existed before StarCraft 2.
GSL did, right? Or like OSL or something in some incarnation of GSL existed. I don't know. In Korea, there's tons of StarCraft stuff that goes on. NASL and IPL and all of those events though didn't exist prior to StarCraft 2. I don't believe.
Okay, yeah, you're mentioning Korea, and it's kind of like the pinnacle of esports, where it's actually taken as a serious thing. And unfortunately, in North America and I believe most of Europe too, it's not really taken professionally at all. It's not really seen as something that can prosper. And I believe MLG was actually starting to charge recently for like HD passes for video because this isn't really a self-sustaining kind of job kind of thing. It doesn't really have the ability to do that. It's just there's so much money going into it, but there's nothing keeping the flow of money, being raised.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to take or get your view on sponsorships for streaming because it's kind of like a really big thing in League of Legends where it's becoming a huge problem.
I mean, it's a lot different. The models are so much different between League of Legends and StarCraft 2, mainly because the viewer base is so different. I mean, there's like 10 times as many active players for League of Legends as there is for StarCraft 2. So it's a lot easier to monetize like CPMs, like viewer base on streams or tournaments or whatever, and sponsorships because there are way more eyes on League of Legends events in StarCraft 2. The whole what you described with MLG, that whole pay-per-view model, that was a model that MLG was trying to launch to try to find ways to monetize tournaments and player bases, so that they could actually turn a profit on running these tournaments, so that they would become sustainable.
Right, yeah, and it's such a big problem at the moment because the money that okay, so in StarCraft 2, from how I take it, the money you guys can make is mostly from sponsorships, where you get sponsored by Razer or AMD or Intel or something like that. Like for instance, Evil Geniuses is sponsored by quite a few different companies, and with League of Legends, you don't have that sponsorships at all. You just pretty much make all your money off streaming. For instance, like Hotshot GG gets 10,000 plus every time he streams, and it's becoming a problem in the sense that people they won't let other people come into their games and kind of cast them, and that's kind of what I want to talk about next is casting in the StarCraft 2 community. Can you kind of talk about that real quick?
Um,
Actually,
I mean,
well,
it's so everything. It's so different to go from like you say that people get their money from sponsorships in StarCraft 2. It's not necessarily true. It is in a roundabout way though. Teams get their money from sponsorships.
right,
Players get their money from salaries. So StarCraft 2 isn't a very individualized sport in that you kind of need to be affiliated with some kind of team to get paid. Winning events is very, very difficult. There's not that many of them, and the competition is incredibly fierce to win any kind of event. So you can't really make a reliable living. Very, very, very few, like maybe 3 or 4 players in the StarCraft 2 community right now could reliably make a living off of tournaments. So you're kind of looking at teams to pay you money, as part of your salary to play for them. In League of Legends, I guess it's a lot different because everybody can make money on their own by just streaming. You don't necessarily you say FU to any team, or you don't have to be involved in sponsorships or anything like that if you can make all the money streaming. So.
do you think that actually hinders League of Legends from kind of maturing as a competitive community just because there's so much money focused around streaming and not about competition?
You would have to get like an advertising specialist on it. From my limited experience in marketing and advertising, the very little bit I know, I would actually think that sponsorships in League of Legends should be more lucrative than sponsorships in StarCraft 2. I mean, there's a reason why they can make so much money streaming, and they're making all that money streaming advertising right now. They just advertise general advertisements, whatever owned sells as advertisements. I would think that if the companies that want to sponsor people in League come with a higher dollar amount attached to them, attached to their sponsorship packages, then it'd start to be pretty easy to get people sponsored.
Right, and that actually brings me to Evil Geniuses. I'm sorry to keep bringing them up, but I remember a while ago they were looking into actually getting a League of Legends team, and they decided to go with the Dota 2 team. And, like even though League of Legends is so much bigger than Dota 2 at the moment, like what do you think League of Legends can do in general to kind of help get more money flowing into it, like through sponsorships?
Um, I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't have like any of the particular numbers in front of me. I don't know why it would be hard for sponsors to get into League of Legends, given how much Riot supports the community. It seems like It seems like it'd be, like I said, a really lucrative place for sponsors to start to get their foot in the door. So I'm not entirely sure why there aren't a whole bunch of sponsorships in League of Legends right now. I'd have to talk to like team managers or whatever. I don't talk to anybody in like the League of Legends community in terms of like people that seek sponsorship deals or anything. I would think that when you're having tournaments with 270,000 viewers or whatever, that having your brand and your logo like on a stage would actually be a highly desirable thing. So it's kind of strange that sponsors haven't gotten more involved in that scene.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem is that you don't have a lot of like teams like Quantic. I know that they're actually going to be picking up a League of Legends team soon, or at least were trying to not too long ago. And
Hmm.
there's no organizations that actually want to pick up League of Legends, which is kind of the downfall of it. Like that's kind of where the sponsorships go to is the organizations to sponsor that organization like Quantic or Evil Geniuses. And there's no real organization for that. And I kind of want to talk about the like okay, well, more about the casting community because you have people like Dana and you have people like Husky Starcraft, HD Starcraft, who are constantly putting up these replays and really giving an entertainment value to the game. What can like League of Legends casters do? Like if you can give some advice, some personal advice to actually like improve that or kind of become that because unfortunately we don't have a replay system that Starcraft has. We just have this third party project called LOL Replay, and it's not even at the same level as actually spectating the game. And because you can't spectate games, because people who or teams that actually scrim, they don't allow people to come in. It's kind of creating this big problem.
Hmm. I mean, they have to. That's one thing Riot needs to do. They have to get some kind of replay system developed. I mean, you can't compromise on that. It has to be developed at some point. Ideally, I mean, the sooner the better. Having access to replays gives people content to create content over for YouTube channels and whatnot. Like for instance, like if there were no replays, do you know who Husky is or HD StarCraft?
Yeah, I just mentioned them.
These people wouldn't exist, okay? And these guys are literally like millionaires from StarCraft 2. So to have them not exist at all because there's no replay system, like it's not acceptable. They need to figure out. I don't know why they haven't released that yet. I'm sure they're working on it, but that needs to be released.
Yeah, I'm really with the way. Okay, I'm probably gonna get a lot of slack for this, but I think a lot of the professional players are spoiled in this sense, and they don't want a replay system allowed because then they would get less. They would think they would get less viewers from it, and it kind of creates this weird problem. But I kind of want to go into how StarCraft 2 has ladders. They have the ladder system. They have different rankings where there's bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, masters, grandmasters, and League of Legends has a 5 vs 5 team like bracket kind of thing, and it kind of flopped. Like, why is the at StarCraft 2 ladder so much or participate in more than the League of Legends ladder?
Um,
Or at least in your opinion, what do you think is like the big problem?
why? So you're asking like why do more people play the StarCraft 2 ladder than the League ladder?
Yeah, like for instance,
There's
they released.
actually a very small percentage of people I think that play StarCraft 2 that even play ladder games. Like there's actually a lot of ladder anxiety for StarCraft 2. This is actually something where League has a huge edge on StarCraft 2, and that League has a really nice system for playing casual games while still being kind of ranked. Like you know how you have like a hidden ranking in League for normal games?
Right, the normal
StarCraft
YOLO.
2 has nothing like that. People don't just play 1v1 games for fun in StarCraft 2. I mean, you can, but it's a lot harder to do that with random people. It's almost impossible because the StarCraft 2 custom game system is just absolutely garbage. Um, just absolutely terrible. I mean, the ladder is kind of played, I guess, by at least people that are serious about the game will play the ladder a little bit, but the ladder isn't even a good indicator of skill. Just because somebody's rated higher than somebody else on the ladder means it really doesn't mean anything. It just means they probably played more games on it.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, and I kind of wanted to point out that Blizzard kind of does do a little more support in certain terms with maps. For instance, there's a lot of different maps in StarCraft 2, and they actually put up on their system or on Battle.net the different maps that you'll be experiencing at like MLG and other events. Can you kind of like comment on that, or at least something the Riot can do similar to that? It's just doesn't seem much support for the competitive community. It's more of support for the community, not really competitive side. All right, we were talking earlier about how there is a little bit of ladder anxiety for StarCraft, where you don't want to play, you don't want to you don't want to lose your standing. And in League of Legends, there's not enough teams playing currently. There's strictly just a handful of people who play the ladder as a team. There's a lot of people obviously that play solo queue. For instance, all the pros do it. They stream that. That's how they make their money. But a lot of like the talk that's been going around is that Riot needs to kind of offer some sort of incentive. And do you think has Blizzard tried this in the past, or do you think it's actually like, would work out? Would people be playing on the ladder more if there's some sort of incentive to do it, like money prize or sorry cash prize, or Even
Blizzard has
special
never,
stuff.
ever, ever. Blizzard tried that once with Brood War. They barely implemented some kind of ladder support system, and then it failed miserably. And they like didn't even do anything with it. In StarCraft 2, there's absolutely nothing awarded for playing the ladder, and I doubt there ever will be.
Well, then what keeps you playing? That I mean, what
I
keeps you
play
playing
it
it?
well because I'm kind of a professional player. I just play for practice. Playing lots and lots and lots of games is good for practice.
And but you were, I mean, we were saying earlier, you don't really learn anything off ladder just because people do all this random stuff. There's no really known people that are really good, and it's more
Well, I mean, you can learn
beneficial.
more. It's the mechanical aspect of StarCraft 2 is much more demanding than the mechanical aspect of League. So as whereas in League of Legends, it gets to a point where things like last hitting and maybe zoning are kind of second nature to you. In StarCraft 2, mechanics are something that have to constantly be worked on and refined. So even if you're playing against bad players, you can still refine set mechanics. And the ladder system isn't terrible. And you can there are still pretty decent players that play like the ladder. I mean, like the really good ones just get to the top and then just sit there. Like Stefano is like destroying like the European ladder at the moment with like some 90% win rate or something ridiculous like that.
And I know it's kind of funny that a lot of professional players have multiple accounts on multiple servers. So, for instance, like there's a lot of people who have accounts on Korean servers just to practice more. Like, would you kind of agree with that? Or
Yeah, the Korean ladder is actually really good practice because there are a lot of good players that play on the Korean ladder.
I know you actually have one, or at least used to have one. I remember
Mhm.
watching you stream once,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I still do.
one thing that people are kind of complaining about is there's no like with League of Legends, you have to level up to level 30. You
Hmm.
have to get all these runes. You have to get all these champions, which is how they make a lot of money. Is just buying champion packs,
Yeah.
buying RP. And there's no real way to get practice easily between um, different or countries. Sorry, I'm trying to think of the word.
Oh, like different servers?
Yeah, like there's an EU server, the EU West, there's an EU East, there's NA, there's Korean. I even think there's a Brazil server because apparently no one likes Brazilians because they troll you all day.
VR. What?
But I don't know. But in light of all that, like what can be done in general with esports to kind of help promote it to be more of a legitimate kind of sport in the United States? Do you think? Like,
Somebody needs to come in and they need to find ways to make money off of it. Once you've found a way to make money off of something to legitimize it into some kind of business aspect, then it'll take care of itself. The world is all built around capitalistic ideas, okay? Regardless of how we're socialist or whatever your country does or whatever. Like if money is to be made, then people will come and make money off of it. Right now, with the models that everybody has set up, it's just not like why like if you were a company, like why would I bother sponsoring this team or whatever? Like blah blah blah. Like there's not even any money to be made here, and all the tournaments are losing money. Like what's the point, you know? If there was a lot of money to be made, then more companies would be coming over, to endorse people or to get their brand name or logo out there.
well, what do you think can
In
be
terms
done for
of
that?
how, I mean, I don't know. That's nobody. If I had the answer, I would be making lots of money off of it right now. MLG's trying to do it with the pay-per-view that subscription model thing, which I
Right.
think might be one way to do it. I guess it just kind of depends on. I don't know. I doubt MLG will ever release specific numbers, but depending on how much money they made doing the pay-per-view thing, like that's one way you could possibly do it.
Yeah, just like
Uh,
just pay per view for a lot of shows on TV or a lot of like fights and
Merchandise.
stuff.
Merchandise. Nobody monetizes merchandise well enough in the StarCraft 2 community. EG is probably the closest to doing it at a really successful level. Like these people, like Israel, should be selling T-shirts and like I want my EG hoodie and blah blah blah. Team Liquid does it really well too. Actually, Team Liquid and EG are probably the two best when it comes to that. So I mean, that's another way to do it too.
Actually,
But
speaking of actually, sorry, continue.
but beyond like that, like I don't have like an easy answer. Like I said, if I did, I'd be making a ton of money off this.
And speaking of Team Liquid, there is no real good site for League of Legends that has all this knowledge that Team Liquid has.
I mean, Summit is okay.
Well, can you actually like provide a website? I mean, I'm just in general, there's nothing really quite like Team Liquid, which I think is really what drives the StarCraft community. But you might be able to correct me on that.
Well, I mean, like, well, wait, like Solomid, what's wrong with that?
Well, solo mid's mostly just like a kind of a guide area. There's no participation. There's no active communication between people. It's just a
Oh,
place you go to look up how to build your certain character.
um, I don't know. I didn't know how active the forums are. I guess maybe they're not that active then. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, maybe that could help a little bit, but
Okay. Well, unless there's anything else you want to say, I guess that's kind of it. I don't know if you want to like shout out to anyone because this will be up on my YouTube channel and there'll be people watching it from League of Legends and from StarCraft. I'm hoping a lot of people will actually be watching this because this is a topic that should really be talked about from any game that's trying to be competitive. Okay. Well, thanks. Sorry.
yeah,
Thanks for
sorry, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good stuff to talk about. I mean, I don't know. It seems like a lot of people. I don't know what's going on in the League of Legends like sponsorship or whatever. Like I said, it's mind blowing. I can't reconcile the fact that they have so many views on tournaments, but nobody is stepping in to make teams or sponsorship. Like it seems like kind of a clusterfuck. So I don't know what to say.
Well, it's really important though, and it's really good that you've been actually like playing other games like League of Legends just to shine some light on it. And as well, I mean, League of Legends people need to do that as well for other or for StarCraft 2 and other games as well. Just kind of help each other out. And I just want to say thanks again. I really appreciate you doing this because it's really important. And you guys need to make sure to watch Destiny's stream because he is hilarious. If you can go watch a stream for 10 minutes and not laugh about something, I will pay you like $10 because it's impossible.
As long as I'm not in a bad mood.
Yeah, that's true. And also check out his YouTube channel where you will see other people who play. Like for instance, who is the person from Slayers? I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
Oh, Dragon Slayer's Dragon.
Okay, Slayer's Dragon. Yeah, they have some great stuff too, and you will go check out the Pro
He's not on Slayers anymore. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry.
He just recently joined a new team. I'm not sure which team it is.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, check out Destiny's like Brofester hit because that video, oh my god, it's so funny. Just watching what you do because you actually did. You were actually really one of the people who were innovative with like strategies. At least how I feel you were, like with infestors and stuff. But yeah, check that out. Thanks again so much for being on the show. Or this isn't the show. Sorry, for doing this interview. And I guess that's it. Thanks for watching.
Cool. Thank you very much for having me. Shout out to Quantic for having me on their team, and Razer for sponsoring us, and shout out to Cloud9 Labs for managing my website.